You're on already, Baz. Why the can's not open? Yours is open.
Mine is open.
Happy days. Where did you mate, it said before this, textured cans. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers, buddy.
Paul Gudonis. Textured cans.
Yep.
Who makes these?
So these are a bunch of craft beers. Obviously, I like the whole craft market, owning a craft cider company.
I have noticed that on your Instagram. Oh, yes. Is that yours, is it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I did not know. Are you is this a plug right at the start? Right. Right. What's your company?
So it's called Revenant.
Yeah.
We basically, me and 3 other guys started it up when we're doing our MBA. Doing a master's in business administration.
Are you still doing that?
No, done. And basically, we were bored in a class one day, and we said, look, what we need to do is find something that we can base a lot of these projects on, rather than just doing them for the sake of doing them.
What, a lot of your course projects?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so we were basically trying to think about ideas, and we went into a bar in Euston, and we're talking about, what could we do? What could we do for an idea? And we're drinking these ciders, and this Kiwi guy, Richard Williams, he says, I can make better cider than this. So I'm like,
is he on the course?
Yeah. Like, really? The guy, he's a coffee importer. He's a really cool dude. And we're like, yeah, really? You can make better cider than this? And he's like, yeah, well, there's the business idea. Let's make better cider. So Revenant, which means like rebirth.
Yeah.
So trying to create something that is different, basically. And so it's like a dry, sparkling cider. And so yeah, that's where it all started, basically. And it's a bit of a side project alongside the other side projects that I've got and the full-time job.
Eve is our signature cider created from our mission to give new life to apples. Brilliant. Give into the temptation. Right, I like it. You had mentioned that to me before, and I completely forgot about it. I do apologise.
No, that's okay. But so I kind of I like the whole the craft beer scene. It's pretty cool. There's a great little place in Chelmsford called Hopsters on Molsham Street.
Which one's that, Molsham Street?
It's the one with all the kind of shops and bars on that's just going out of town up towards Tesco's.
Yes, I know.
So basically, Ed in there, he sells our cider. And he's got an amazing selection of beers. So yeah, dropped in there today. I was having a chat with Ed, and yeah, just picked up some beers.
How many different? Sorry, going back to Revenant. How many different ciders have you got?
So we've only got the one. We brew it in someone else's premises, and so it's kind of like a nomad kind of thing. You use someone else's premises. It's your own recipe. It's designed to be different to normal cider, so it's quite dry, sparkling cider, bit kind of like a prosecco, easy drinking sort of thing. So we've only got the one at the moment. The intent is to look at doing something different as well next to that. So either a sharing bottle you can take to a party or whatever else, which has already been done. It's not too original an idea, but looking to kind of build on that, or maybe looking into kegs or something seasonal, like something you could make as a mulled cider, that sort of thing. Being from the West Country,
West Country, I kind of know where it is now. Yeah. Have you not noticed though? You're from Chelmsford, right? Yep. No, not from Chelmsford. From West Country. You live in Chelmsford.
Yep.
Have you not noticed this end? So you would have noticed it in a different way. When I came west to Warwickshire, West Midlands.
Yep.
Not West Country, is it? No.
Nope.
I'm just remembering my lessons from 3 or 4 other podcasts.
I remember.
When I came west, so from Colchester, I lived in Colchester to here, and then also it's the same coming from Wales. If I come from Wales to here, the flipping heck, how popular craft ale is.
Yeah,
it's mental.
It's nuts.
In Colchester, you go out, you have your beer, like a cider, a lager, and then maybe in the pub they'll have a couple of your bog standard like IPA, bog standard IPA, or like Brains, not Brains as Wales, that kind of stuff that you all know. But you come here and flipping heck, you walk in the pub and there's more ales in a lot of them than there's on lagers. And not just that, it's the demographic that drink it. Mate, it's like my age, your age, and down to early to mid 20s, going in and asking for a jug of ale.
I know, but it's like people want to try something different. They don't want to just drink Stella or John Smith's or Guinness or whatever else. They want to try something different when they go to different bars. And it's mental, mate. The amount of selection you go to now in certain places, it's great. But I mean, it's good because what I really like about it is it's all small companies. These are entrepreneurs that are doing things that are getting off their own back and really going and doing something different, which is, I think, to be applauded, right? You've seen the social media stuff. One of the biggest things I love at the moment is all these small companies that are being set up by veterans. It's mega, and they're totally smashing life. And that's what I like about some of these things. And there's one called Ink Spot actually, which is set up by some army guys down in South London, which is a pretty good brewery as well. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Is it? I've asked it before. Do you think that it's that more veterans are being more entrepreneurial and set up their own businesses now and just think, "Fuck, I'm going to do it," or is it that they're better publicising it and it's not really increased? It's the same as before. It was the same 20 years ago. It's just we know more about it because social media, and it's just easy to market it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's probably a bit of both. I think that it's easier to be more successful and build a following quite quickly these days because of social media. I mean, social media has got its real negative points, and we've talked about that in the past. And there are a lot of negative points about social media. But one thing it is good for is that advertising and business, and really kind of bringing people along to give an understanding. I mean, the good to go stuff and all these companies that are now setting up. Would they have been so successful without social media? I don't know. No. But they play those games really well, right? And so. Yeah, I think it is to be applauded.
Definitely. There's some alley kit out there, mate. Alley kit. I wake up some days. I think I don't know what to wear. I can't decide. And I don't want to let any of the companies down. I want everyone's stuff all the time.
Yeah. And there's new ones popping up all the time as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. How did you go back to your MBA? How did you? What led you to go on to do a masters then? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. So. I left school with a very small handful of GCSEs, and then sort of did some more in evening classes and did some A-levels in evening classes, and then I joined the army. I left the army over a period of time, and basically I then sort of started getting, when I went into the commercial world working for Inmarsat, I started getting these promotions, and quite quickly, just based on getting shit done effectively. What I found is I found myself in a position where I could make decisions based on the limited experience that I had, and on common sense more than anything else. But I was lacking the tools and the tools to be able to sort of say, okay, this is why I think we should do this. This is why I think it makes sense for the company. When you talk about things like return on investment and how it impacts the strategy and what your competitors are doing and all that sort of stuff, I didn't understand any of that enough, and so I'd read stuff in books and whatever else. And the company, I was chatting to my boss at the time, and he said, look, doing really well. What are you interested in doing? I said, I need to get a qualification. I don't have a degree. I'm getting to a place now where a degree would be useful in case I have to leave the company, because a lot of companies will sift on if you've got a degree or not wrongly. So for me, that was like, I need to check that box. I need to get a qualification, but I also, more importantly, I need the tools to be able to make these smart decisions about how to run the business effectively. So I said, yeah, I'm quite interested in doing an MBA, and I'd looked around at the courses. Found one that was close to the office. It was a weekend thing, for a 4-day weekend, once a month. So I could kind of manage that, and that was that really. I went for it. It was an epically tough 2 years, but I made some great mates. Started a company, bizarrely, And it was really worthwhile because it has given me the tools to get to where I am today, basically.
Did you use any of the military funding for that?
I didn't, but they certainly Cass Business School, which is in London, are very keen to bring people in who are veterans.
What business school? Sorry,
Cass Business School. Yeah, CASS, Cass Business School. So it's part of the London University, but it's close to the office, and it's a good, well-known business school, and they really encourage. They try to get veterans through on the course, and so I knew a guy, Ian Kerrigan, another guy, veteran-owned business, Norse, does like beard oils and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool.
It's called Norse. He does beard oils, of course. And
barber products, but so and he does other things as well. He's a bit of a serial entrepreneur.
Have you ever bought beard oil?
Yeah.
Have you got beard oil on right now?
Yeah.
Go on, it's all your street cred. Go on.
Yeah. Norse beard oil, actually. Yeah, so it's a good one.
Look, your beard looks radiant. I have to say,
smooth. So so they basically encourage people to come on the courses, and it was good.
The MOD will fund degrees.
I do, yeah. So we're actually using some of that funding ourselves now at Inmarsat to put people through courses. So we're actually using this. This is a government fund that we're using to help put people through courses who are veterans.
I'm referring to the fund that an individual can get. So you have your LCAS, you can get the 3 payments in LCAS, and then that aside, up until a few years ago, I say up until, I know that at least a few years ago, the MOD would pay for you if you wanted to go to university to do a course. To do a degree. It didn't matter what it was, as long as you were eligible with that university for it.
Okay.
I was looking at the time, I was looking for either occupational health and safety or a security management thing.
Yeah.
But I never took it further. I will. Cause I think you got to do it within 10 years of leaving.
Okay.
Another 4 years. It's just, my opinion with it, with the degrees these days, it's changed a lot. Definitely with the last sort of year or so. I see it's less important as it was 10 years ago. That's not to say it's not important, but less so. But then if I got that opportunity to go and do it, and it's not going to cost me a penny, and I enjoy learning, and exactly like you said, when people leave, you said, I just got stuff done, and I put solutions in that were obvious. Well, it's like a second nature, and that obvious. When you look at when you say, let's say obvious, that's obvious to me when you look at let's talk about a worker.
Yeah,
right, let's talk about a worker, and this is an example of the way my brain still works now. The difference is I can see how it impacts further. I can see and explain how it impacts further up the chain from a client to a customer, and cost and savings and all that. And I was involved in a big project. On this project ad, well, let's just talk about the screws, right? The screws going into these things that are being made, there was something like 33,000 of these screws going into these components, right? And these aren't even manually put in. This wasn't machines. This is a person with a tech screw with a tech gun, right? And
I get that after building IKEA furniture.
That IKEA furniture is harder. It looks so easy. Come in flat pack box, take it out, and you're ripping your hair out. I know. So in this, whenever I'm doing anything, it's all about. My first thing is energy expenditure, and what's the word? Efficiency.
Yeah.
As fast as I can do it with a minimum energy, because go back to the military days.
Yeah.
Energy, food. Yeah, and efficiency for energy and time. Less time, less ammo, less water needed. Get the mission accomplished faster. It's almost like an autistic thing.
Yeah.
That's how I think. From little things I do every day, it's bizarre. Now with this project, there was 2 of these guys putting these screws in on these component parts, and they were getting fatigued halfway through making one of them. It would take about an hour to put 300 or 400. No, I tell you, it wasn't an hour. It was like half an hour to put in 300 or 400 screws along this thing. It was an epic. That was for each of this thing was being built, and there were 33 of these. It took weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Right. Well, halfway through they haven't have a break because their arms getting knackered from the tech gun.
Yeah.
But if they were drilling the screw in the tech gun, and I experienced this because I was helping, right?
Yep.
Drilling the screw in the tech gun, and what your natural thing is when the screw's drilled in, drill down, then you pick the drill up to put the next screw in, and you move on to the next one. So you're holding the drill in your hand up, your arms holding the drill up while you're picking the next screw up with your hand, and you put it in the end. So I changed it. So you screw the drill in.
Yeah.
You don't lift the drill up. You leave the drill on that screwed in screw while your left hand goes in and gets the next screw out.
Ah, genius.
Yeah, genius, isn't it?
Yeah. So easy.
Right? Then you place that screw in the next hole.
Yeah.
Pick the drill up into the next. So the drill, all of a sudden, you're only lifting it up for like a split second as opposed to holding it up in the air for 5 seconds. Over 300, 400 screws, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
They didn't need to have a break anymore, and they were completing all those screws in about 10 minutes, 20 minutes less. Well, that means they achieve, well, as you know, that means they can become more productive.
Yeah.
Just off that one change.
Yeah.
Leave the drill sitting on the screw.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But it's you know where I'm coming from, don't you?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then over the course of time, they're more productive.
Yeah.
The director's chuffed because it costs. He's paying less for the same amount of work that he's already quoted the client. So all of a sudden, his profit's gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less fatigue, health and safety wise.
Yeah.
Less chance for repetitive strain injury. Genius. Well, I know what you're talking about. And then it's like you say, it's seeing how that impacts everything all the way up.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, that was pretty much how I kind of really got that development through the company, through the different positions, was just by trying to make small time saving efficiency gains, effectively trying to make things easier for people, just trying to solve problems and that sort of thing. And before I knew it, I was moving into another role, and then find myself running a team and then a bigger team. Yeah, so I think that kind of it's a powerful message, mate. The fact that actually just using that common sense can get you really far. You don't need those qualifications or anything else. But yeah, they are an enabler. They can open doors for you, but you don't need them. Just that common sense that you get from being in the military is a powerful skill set.
Knowing that you got it and then realising what it does.
Yeah, and God, yeah, MOD is absolutely pants at explaining that to people, though, right? Kind of getting it through to people that the skill set. Oh, maybe it's an intentional thing because you don't actually. I remember you do the whole career transition thing, and you do the test that you put all your the answers to questions in, and it comes out with your list of top 20 jobs that you should do. Number 1, Army officer. I was like, oh, come on, really?
When you were getting out?
I was getting out. Oh yeah, I didn't realise.
I didn't do that.
I'll stay in. No, it's
but powers don't get that option.
Yeah. So it is like just the whole thing's rubbish. The way they educate people about what options are open to people is really poor, I think.
Yeah,
maybe it's better. It was 11 years ago that I got out. So.
It's not. I don't know. It wasn't when I got out. But to be fair, I mean the people the people from the career transition partnership I dealt with. I mean one in particular, Heather Disberry. Shout out to her, awesome woman. I stayed in touch with her after when I was working in the Middle East and for advice, different things. She helped me all the way along. And she would go balls out to help out, put all the effort in. But then when it comes to that formal structure of you transition out of the military and you got these 6 months and you get your resettlement, you have a career transition workshop with the CTP. They've got so little time and so little resources. They've got not enough people. It is pants. I don't blame them though. Yeah. As in I don't blame the CTP kind of thing.
I don't blame the people at all, because I think actually what you're talking about there is that one individual. She's clearly gone way beyond what most people probably would do. But it's the system, right? It's the system's just not set up to provide people. Well, it wasn't set up. Certainly when I went through, I can't talk about now, but when I went through, it wasn't set up to provide the best insight into what you could potentially be doing. I was certain I was going to go into a project management job, right? Because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know what I thought. I thought a salesperson was picking up a phone and like phoning people and saying, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" on the phone all the time.
What were you doing when you're in then? Why were you certain you were going to project management? What were you doing when you were in?
Well, I was I was in the Raw Signals. I joined as a telecommunications technician because that's what the recruiter taught me into when I went through recruiting office.
You sound like you regret it.
No, I don't. I don't, because I wouldn't be where I am today, right?
There we go, exactly.
And then they realised I was a rubbish technician. I was really bad. I used to hit things with a hammer. It was the only way I could fix them. So they're like, "What do we do with this guy? Send him to Sandhurst and he can become an officer." So then I went straight from Sandhurst to 216 as part of 16 Assault Brigade.
Commission, did you?
Yeah.
You kept that quiet.
I did.
Turn the microphones off, Baz. We've got another one.
So
keep that one quiet. You sneaky get. Go on.
Yeah. So I did. I was at 216. Did Afghan and Iraq with 216 in the early days. The P Company and jumps course and everything. The 2 jolly courses I was allowed, according to my OC, Neil Fraser, who no doubt listened to this, said to me, the only 2 jolly courses you'll get in your time here are P Company and your jumps course.
P Company's not jolly.
I know. So basically, I kind of then went and trained recruits for a bit, and then had a job in London, and was basically doing comm stuff in London, supporting ceremonial duties and supporting instant response stuff. So we'd have like a team that would go out and provide liaison links between the civil authorities and the military if they were needed for natural disasters or terrorist incidents or whatever else. And so I, my wife and I, Emily and I, were having our first child, and it was a chance to either go back to 216 or basically after being in for 10 years at that point to leave and start a new career. And I had the most unbelievably fortunate meeting. Met this lady called Lizzie Greenwood at a liquid list event in London.
Not been to one of those yet.
It was good, mate. It was really good. So I went along to that and with a lad called Matt Shea, who was one of the full screws who was leaving, and we went in and they had this whiteboard, and on the whiteboard someone had wrote Inmarsat and they'd spelt it IMMARSAT, and I went, it's not spelled like that, mate. It's spelled INMARSAT. He went, do you know about this stuff? I said, yeah, I've used it in Afghan and Iraq. And he's like, okay. You want to go talk to that lady over there, Lizzie Greenwood? She's looking for a business development manager. And I didn't have a clue what that meant. But I went and had a chat with her, and she explained, and Lizzie was ex-Navy, ex-Royal Navy officer. And she explained to me what the job does and that sort of stuff, and talking to people in the military and educating them on what Inmarsat equipment can do. For them, how they can use it and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, sounds quite interesting, talking to people, explaining what the technology can do, that sort of stuff. And I'm sure I can bluff myself on in that one. So before I knew it, I was pretty much into Inmarsat. I had a couple of interviews and everything, and I was still officially in. And I was, at that point, I was going on a project management course. And they said, the guy Gordon McMillan, ex-RAF guy who was running the team I was going for in Inmarsat, he said to me, can you start next week? And that week was my last week in the army, and the next week I was supposed to be doing a project management course on my resettlement. And I was like, well, as long as the army will let me go out that course, and yeah, definitely. So I went and had a chat with my boss at the time, great guy called James Vosper. He said, yeah, no problem, off, you can go. And that was it. So I handed over all my duties, and literally finished on the Thursday, and on the Monday I started at Inmarsat. And so I would have gone into a project management course. I would have come out of that and gone into started looking for a project management role if I hadn't had that networking chance meeting, basically.
What Inmarsat do we have with the military then? When with Afghan, were you on the Herrick's, Afghan Herrick's?
No, I was on Fingal.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I did the 2002 short tour in Fingal. So when I talk about Afghan, it's not like the Afghan.
No, it's not what I asked. I just because I'm trying to think of comms kit.
Yeah.
Would I have come across any Inmarsat comms kit? So I was serving from 2000 to 2011.
Yeah, very likely. Yeah, very likely. BGAN, which is a small terminal.
BGAN. I remember the name.
Broadband Global Area Network. So it's a small terminal basically that can provide you access to email and the internet, social media, that sort of stuff.
I know that. I have brain farts all the time now.
So it could have been Inmarsat handheld satellite phones for welfare purposes. So there are, I'm pretty sure, and I certainly know that there are deployable sort of welfare kits that some of the they could take up beyond Bastion and places like that that people had small sort of Pelican cases with a terminal and laptop in, but whether people got access to them.
Remember the B-gun?
Yeah.
It rings about. I forget all sorts. I had a conversation with a MFC Bravo, Danny Groves, who came on, and we were talking in that, and I had a complete. I was asking him, so what's a Bravo do? What's an Alpha do? Was this was a motor station? And then afterwards, 3 days later, I was thinking, I know all that. In fact, I bravoed for a bit. I wasn't sure. I knew everything. I went straight out of my head. It's crazy. It's crazy when you forget. It's crazy when you forget.
So considering, I was a telecommunications technician. Telcoms trained, all that sort of stuff. Understand all about packet switching and whatever else. I'm the Royal Signals guy. I'm supposed to be a techie type. There's a Royal Marine called Del Ashley who works for me. And he was GD Marine, and then did some sort of SF signals stuff down at Poole. But mate, he knows more about comms in his little finger than I know. Full stop. And it's embarrassing. I've completely forgotten pretty much all of that sort of stuff now. I think I was a rubbish tech anyway. So,
how did when you left and you got that job? How did you find that transition into it? As in, how did you find it? You know what I'm asking.
Yeah, I did.
I was going to try and specify them. It's obvious.
No, I found it really easy. That initial part, and I was fortunate in that I was working with a lot of ex-military people, and the customer that I was talking to was largely government customers. So it was the same sort of banter, the same sort of attitude to get things done, to get on with stuff, so it wasn't that different in a way. I was still almost a part of that environment. So I didn't have any dramas there, but later, sometime later, I did, and it was actually for me. I went for a bit of a kind of a dark place, to be honest, with this whole series of things. And I think partially it was I got sucked into the corporate world, and I saw this like I was doing well and I was succeeding, and I basically got into a place where I forgot who I was in a way, and it definitely had a negative impact, I think, on me, on who I was as an individual. I was a different person to the person that my wife met, for example, that sort of thing.
What do you mean you got sucked into the corporate world?
Like the job came first, before family and before friends, and
like it does in the military.
Yeah,
mission comes first.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be that way in the corporate world. And the worst thing is, pretty much. Certainly now anyway, no one expects it to be like that. Like my boss, the CEO of Inmarsat, he puts family first all the time, and I've got massive respect for him for that. And I didn't for a period of time. It was about the job. I was traveling probably more than I needed to see customers and trying to do deals and whatever else. And I was working late, and the phone would beep, and I'd be on the email, and not paying attention to what was going on at home, and I got sucked into this kind of and almost like crack, basically, in that I was getting promoted and I was getting recognised and I was getting this development, and I could see that this was all good. And so I just kept throwing myself into it, and it's not something that I necessarily. It's difficult to say. I don't really regret it, because I wouldn't be here potentially if I'd done things a different way. It might have happened a bit later, but it wasn't right, And so what I realised, and actually it took my dad dying of a heart attack at 62 quite very suddenly for me to go, what the fuck am I doing? Who am I, basically? And I had then like quite a big wobble, and struggled for a bit. I had like anxiety issues and stuff like that. And I know that people from work will be listening to this, and I'm hoping it didn't come across, but I did, and there were some pretty negative times for me, and thankfully my wife was great. She kind of stood by me and everything, and helped me through a lot of that stuff and whatever else. But the thing that really sort of got me back on track again was Team Rubicon, because I realized quite quick. It was actually an incident that when the earthquake happened in Nepal back in 2014, 15.
Keep talking. Sort this light out.
Okay.
No, it's that flashing of you.
Yeah.
Flipping that's the interrogation room.
I thought it was people talking to me.
Oh, mate, it's not.
So basically, when the earthquake happened in Nepal, we sent two of the lads out, Dell and another guy, John, out to Nepal to provide comm support to the media guys and the aid agencies that were on the ground. Okay, so we had some new equipment, and they took that out there, and they set it up in Nepal, and they were then working out there for a period of time in the immediate aftermath of the big earthquake in Nepal. And when they came back, they were buzzing, and Dell was like, that was honestly, he's like, that was one of the best things I've done since I left the military, and we need to find a way to do that more, right? Use the capabilities that Inmarsat has to do good, as well as just doing sales, but also getting us on that ground was a great feeling. So when then the next year, when the Haiti disaster happened, we looked to send Dell and another guy out again, and basically we were told that you're not a recognised disaster response agency, don't come out, because if you do, you won't be able to leave the airport. Okay, you'll be stuck there. So we're like, okay, fine. We started looking for a way to legitimise that deployment, to partner with somebody, and then we found Team Rubicon. And for me, that was genuinely started this almost like a finding that purpose again. Because what I realised was I didn't have a purpose. Right, my purpose at that time was kind of working, doing the job and whatever else. But what was it really delivering? I was making money for the shareholders, which is obviously important. Making money for people that are never probably going to meet, but it didn't really engage me in terms of giving me that sense of purpose that I used to have when I used to cut around in a maroon beret and wings on my arm and all that sort of stuff. It's different. So basically then met Team Rubicon, and we started that partnership, and that's what really gave me that sense of purpose again, and got me really energized about what I'm doing in the job as well. So I think those two things came hand in hand. I started being better at my job and doing better in work as soon as I had that something else that was there, that was giving me that North Star, I suppose, that you kind of then guides you and is you as an individual. So yeah,
you can. Yeah, I see it, mate. And we spoke about this before. Not on the podcast. And it's a purpose, objective, mission, and that's not. That'll be something that a lot of people don't realise they're missing until they realise. Look, a career really in the way you describe how you experience it, a negative aspect. Loads of people go through that. Why are you doing your job? Why are you earning your money? Why are you flipping grafting? Look, graft, don't get me wrong, because just working hard at something to achieve something is good, right?
Yeah.
But you don't just want material return on that investment of your time and energy. You want emotional investment. You need emotional investment, and it should be the emotional investment, the emotional return on investment that overrides the material. Look, because if it's the alternative, you just graft in for the money, and because that's what's done, and because I'm in the city, for example, and a career, and I forged a good future for my kids, and blah blah blah. That's great, but you're a fucking shell of a person, really, 100%. Until you realise. So I've realised it recently myself. It's funny you mentioned Team Rubicon as well. And I had Richard Sharp on, and we were talking on it, and then we were talking after, and I was thinking, fucking hell, that is Ali. Team Rubicon is Ali. Yeah. We should know what it's for. And I've got my AKUs, which I bought a couple of years back for a 40 miler, like for charity, and I've got a pair of Cry trousers. Cry combat trousers, but like khaki. What am I them for? I bought them for the same thing. Yeah. But I didn't wear the knee pads there. When I was thinking, after I chat with him the next couple of days, and I put the boots on, I thought, fucking imagine wear these again, because you need to wear them, because you're on the ground, going somewhere with a purpose, with a mission, because you're going to help people, but you're going into like a volatile. That's what that volatile environment is what appeals, because we're probably the most capable and comfortable in that environment. So no, we're probably the most comfortable in that environment. We've been there a million times before on the operations we've done. So come on, tell me what needs doing, and I'm going to help people out. You know, I'm going to be wearing my AKUs and my Ali combats. It's that purpose and objective and emotional return on it, because the emotional return on that is I'm helping people out. Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing they got going on.
It's brilliant. It is brilliant, and I thoroughly recommend pretty much anybody I meet now that's leaving the military. I recommend go and have a chat with them, because there's great networking opportunities. There's a lot of companies now that are looking to develop partnerships similar to the one Inmarsat has, and they are looking for this type of person. I believe the sort of person that is going to go out of their way, that wants to volunteer to put themselves into a disaster response situation, is the sort of person that I want working for me. Because they're the sort of person that wants to go that extra mile, that wants to dig out and do good things, and that's one hell of an attribute. I'd rather have that than a degree any day. And so I think that it sets a real powerful message to people. If you've got that on your CV, I think to people like myself, it stands out.
Inherently good and honest. Those two things can. You can have the stupidest person in the world. What's the politically correct way of putting that? The least mentally capable person in the world. But inherently good, a good person. And they're honest.
Well, they're willing to.
That trumps a lot of other people.
They're willing to put themselves into an uncomfortable position. Right? You go out to these places. You're not staying in a hotel.
I wasn't saying Team Rubicon people are stupid. No. Jesus.
I wasn't saying either, but. But you've met Richard Sharp, right?
Well, I've met Richard, yeah. What are you insinuating?
You might have taken a few too many blows to the head. The thing is, if you're willing to put yourself in a situation where it is going to be uncomfortable, it's only 2 weeks, but you're not going to be living in a hotel.
At least you can go longer if you want, can't you?
You can do, yeah. And you're willing to live in that kind of circumstance, to do good, to work hard. That's all that matters to me. There's a big thing about attitude, I think, and it goes back to your time in the military. The guy who's the most gifted wasn't always the guy that was the best or the most liked, or it's the guy that is willing to work hard and put the graft in. And it doesn't matter if they're a try hard type of person rather than achieving 100% every time with minimum effort. You want the guy that's willing to go the extra mile, right? That's willing to put in the effort. That's the stuff that I think, even in the commercial world now, people are recognising is that attitude is 100%. It doesn't matter if you've got a degree, if you've got a first from Cambridge or whatever else. What matters is, are you willing to go and put the effort in? Are you willing to do something that's a bit different? Are you willing to step outside of what is your lane? My job is to just do X, Y, and Z. Well, actually, I'm going to go and help that guy do A, B, and C as well. That's the kind of person that you want. And so I think Team Rubicon really embodies that kind of spirit in people, I think. So
hopefully we can get as much traction as what the Team Rubicon USA get. They're flipping huge over there. As in they're online presence, just how known they are.
Yeah. It's very different. I think the organisations in the US, they are much more gung ho about many things, and in particular about supporting their veterans and supporting things like Team Rubicon. Over here, it's not. You don't get quite the same level of support, I think. And one of the things, like Help for Heroes, great job, absolutely great job. There's no doubt in what they've done is amazing. But at the same time, are they now starting to overshadow some of the other veteran-based organisations? So,
what do you mean?
I'm
going to go down the rabbit hole here now.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, I think that so there's two things. There's two ways I look at it, really, to be honest. And again, this isn't to say that I think that they've done an amazing job, and they've turned around a lot of the opinion on veterans. But is there a feeling of almost what's the term? It's like a fatigue almost for charities. Another veterans organisation raising money. I've already given to Help for Heroes, and I've got the band, and I've supported those guys. I want to go support Team Rubicon as well. I've really done that.
I would argue it's not seen like that at all. No,
really?
No.
I don't know. It's not. Maybe it's. I don't think it's. I think there was a period of time when raising money for veterans organisations was maybe not easier, but there was a lot of it going on, and I think now it definitely isn't as easy as it was. And I think what I'm trying to get across here is that in the US there is still a lot of people giving and donating to those sorts of charities. In the UK, it's very different. There isn't as much of it, and maybe it's just a difference in the culture or whatever. I don't know, but it's certainly.
Was it declined? Is it donations to military charities? Or is that just?
I think it's just harder. I think it's harder to get traction, in my opinion.
Harder for a charity to get traction.
Yeah.
Well, going back to Team Rubicon, I don't think at all. It's no, they're donators, so they're target sort of people who would help them raise funds because they're a charity, like you said. They don't flip into Paul. Those people getting sent out there. Team Rubicon didn't pay for it because they get loads of money from whatever, or a company they got from charitable donations. But I think the people that are donating to Team Rubicon, if you looked at the majority of the donation, the people who donate, they're probably donating not because Team Rubicon uses predominantly military people on their volunteer base, but the people are donating because they want to help people in crisis overseas. I've not even ever considered it a military-oriented charity, because that's not their help.
Yeah, true. Well, they do, because there's two reasons why
help
Team
with
Rubicon,
money and that. I mean.
There's two reasons that Team Rubicon was set up. One was to help. Yeah, very good. Drinking the cider, excellent. As long as you don't have vomit, it's cool. No, there's two reasons. There's two reasons, right? One was the whole core of Team Rubicon is to help veterans, right? It's to help veterans to integrate into society and into whilst using those skill sets that they got in the military to do great things around the world. And I think that so there is definitely a veteran aspect to it. Is it all about that? No, it's not, because a lot of the guys that now deploy aren't just veterans. There are some, in fact, some of the guys that deploy from Inmarsat in particular, because we've got now 60 Team Rubicon trained people in the company yet. Some of those guys have had no military experience at all, and they've done great jobs on deployments. But it is a military disaster, or not military, but veterans disaster response type charity. And it's not easy to raise funds, right? And they do need to get more funding in. So if anybody out there does have some funds that they want to donate to Team Rubicon, then it is needed, because the reality is there is so much out there in terms of projects that Team Rubicon could do. Not just responding to disasters, but helping people prepare for disaster, having a proactive approach to disasters, those sorts of things. And those things need funding. And right now, they have funding to do a certain number of projects and a certain number of responses, but they need more. And the reality is, they genuinely need more funding, and it is not easy getting funding out there. Whereas in the US, probably the reality is, to be fair to them, they have so many disasters in the US that they respond to that it does touch the hearts of the people in the US, and so they get more funding in that way. I expect is probably the reality. But yeah, as a company, they need more corporate sponsorships. They need people to come in and work with them to not just bring funding, but to bring capability, to bring people and bodies into the organisation. So yeah, and I think that's it is a genuine issue. There is something else as well. Going back to Help for Heroes, that part of one of the unintended consequences, I think, of some of the work that's been done to raise money for veterans, is that there is a bit of a perception that all veterans have some kind of mental illness issue, or they're a pity case rather than actually someone that is able to really go and do something amazing. And one of the things that struck me with Michael Coates' podcast when you interviewed him, and he came on and he talked about post-traumatic growth.
Brilliant show, isn't it?
It's amazing. And I reached out to Michael actually to follow up on this conversation.
Has he responded?
Yeah, he has.
Good,
and
good.
We're just trying to find the time now in our diaries. But
I didn't. I thought of course he responded. I didn't mean he was. Yeah. Sometimes he hasn't. Sorry, man.
But I think one of the unintended consequences, and this is also a problem that Team Rubicon USA has, and I've had this chat with the CEO, Jake Wood, of the CEO of Team Rubicon USA, is that there is this perception that all veterans have PTSD. They swing to violence quickly, and they have anger management issues, and they've got all these problems. And as we're going back to talking about the how so many veterans are now starting up these small companies that are doing really well, that's not the case. There are a lot of people out there that have amazing skill sets, and as Michael said so eloquently in the podcast, it actually can make you stronger. And I've not really faced any of that sort of stuff myself, to be honest. My tours are all very easy. To be in Raw Signals, perhaps, but although actually that's not fair to some of the guys that were in.
One officer.
Yeah, one officer. Yeah. Sorry. That's not fair to some of the guys that were on tours later. But the reality is, there are a lot of, and that's what Team Rubicon can do, right? It can take those skill sets that people developed and really sort of take them further and use them in situations that a lot of people would probably feel uncomfortable in. Mm-hmm. But that post-traumatic growth piece, I think, is a great term. I need to do more looking into it, but that was a good podcast, that one.
Yeah, he's interesting to talk to. I mean, he's one way to look at it is that it can make you stronger, or probably what the more likely it is it changes you, or it sort of moulds you into slightly sort of core of you is the same, but it moulds you in the outside sort of a different area, and some of your strengths that you had become less strong, or maybe even weaknesses. Yeah. Then other areas you become much stronger in, like we were talking about. Dealing in times of hardship, your mental resilience in times of high stress, situations where complex decisions that you made in a blink of an eye, and I mean blink of an eye, not like 10 seconds, blink of an eye, and you need to make the right decision, or it goes Pete Tong. Identifying those things, for me, and the reason I come on to that, for me, and it's probably for other people, maybe not realise it, not saying all people, saying some people I don't know, is recognising that as anyone in any military career, right? And this is regardless of your tours, you go through a change. There is a change. You are not, as you do in life, right? And you're not the same person when you joined up as when you left. Now, depending on what happens in that career as a postman, or in your career as a soldier, or airman, or sailor, well, the change in that time that affects you is either flipping, you can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the thing is with the military stuff, I completely agree with what you're saying. Someone mentioned about you saying about the perception now is that veterans are pity cases, and I paid that lip service before when someone said it. I sort of give it a bit of thought. I can't remember what it was on the podcast. I do apologise. I didn't mean to pay a lip service, but now when you said it, I've obviously thought about it more in between, and I agree. I generally, and pity may be too strong a word, but I get where you're going. I get where you're going with it, and I agree. So going back to your journey through your career and anyone and things change you, stresses in work, whatever that word may be, hard life decisions, professional or personal, and depending on how hard those things are, the shorter that period of time comes where a lot of stuff's impacting you. For example, like a tour, right? Well, that changes even more profoundly, but you have less time to adjust to it. Like getting me redundant from a job. You've been in a job for 15 years to get me redundant. That is overnight. 100%. And then all of a sudden you changed and you don't know how to get back from it. What happens? Okay, that can happen to anyone. So, but your ability to recognise then, you tend to think then, I'm ill, I need to sort myself out. Where in actual fact, it's, I've changed. And I've changed now completely. Now, don't get me wrong, you could be ill at times. It could be a bit of both. But you've changed recognising.
Do you know, I think and you're 100% right in that it's not just veterans, right? Especially, mental health. Men's mental health is a big issue. Mostly because we're all macho men, and we're not going to admit that I've got doubts in my mind and whatever else and that kind of stuff, which is nonsense. And I think that I had this conversation actually earlier today, believe it or not, with a guy who was telling me about a relative of his who had been made redundant working in the city, and how he had lost his sense of purpose. And we were talking about purpose and whatever. I was telling him I was coming on the podcast and all that sort of thing. And he was saying, his relative had this same issue, working in the city banker, doing really well, trading and all this sort of stuff, and all of a sudden he doesn't have a job, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's gone from his A game, being something that you can really identify with, to now not being able to identify with it and starting to question, where am I in my life? And I think that that's not just a veterans thing. It's probably something for blokes everywhere. They get to a certain point in their life when they look back and they think about all the ambitions that they had, and they're like, oh man, what have I done? Yeah, but what were the ambitions in the first place though, Paul? It's like the ambition in the first place probably I want to own a fucking yacht, or I want to have a mega house wherever, or that kind of thing. What I think now is I just want to do the things that make me happy. I just want to do the things that make me happy. And the short term and the long term. Yeah. That's it. Because in the short term, that makes me happy. And if I build it in the right way, doesn't impact work, okay, it actually makes me more productive at work because I'm happier in general. I'm doing the things that make me feel good, as long as those things are reputable. But do you know what? Yeah. But I think that's the point though, Hugh. I think that when you get at that point in your life, and I think that a lot of people do go through that, regardless of their background. I think the point is that you have to accept that actually what those things that I wanted, that I thought I was going to get in my life, maybe weren't realistic, or they just didn't happen for whatever reason. There's no point dwelling on that. There's no point regretting it. It's focusing on, exactly as you say, what's going to make me happy now. And that was, I think, where, for me, when I went through that whole, that lack of purpose, and I found Team Rubicon, I was able to start to see things differently. I was able to see how lucky I am to have a beautiful, supportive wife and great kids, and to not always great, sometimes they're little buggers, but you know what I mean. You're listening as well, aren't you, you little horrors? So
how old are they?
They are 5, 9 and 12, 13 next week. Anyway, and all girls. Beautiful little horrors, but yeah, the little horrors. Anyway, but the point being, you begin to realise then actually how lucky I am. I've got a good group of friends, that have been through. Some of them have been through similar things, and some of them I've known for a long time. Whatever else, they're good guys. I've got a bloody good job. I'm doing really well. I'm respected, and I've got a small business. Why am I feeling like this? And actually, is that at that point when I sort of started really being able to step back and think about where I am in my life, that I realised that actually, bloody hell, you know what? I've got a real opportunity here to do some really good stuff. I've got an opportunity to shape the way the business goes and actually start to do some things that are pretty cool, that have a positive impact on the people that are working with me, for me, whatever you want to put it, the communities that we're working with, the sorts of projects that we're working on and we're focusing on, the ability to be able to help people go have the opportunities that I had when I left the army through meeting that one lovely person, Lizzie, who, and then getting all those opportunities where people.
She's still at the business?
No, she's moved on now, but she's great. She'd be a good person to actually have a chat with sometime on the podcast, but she's done some interesting stuff in her life. But so to be given those opportunities, I can now give other people those opportunities. That's in my power. That's in my power to help people to be able to go through some of those same experiences. It is in my power to help shape the direction of Inmarsat as a company, being part of the executive team, and be able to take that company to do great things. And the company's been built on doing great things, right? It's built on providing safety at seas communications, which we save lives every day on average at sea through the safety systems that we have on board ships.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 4 or 5 lives a day is the average, basically. So the company's built on doing amazing things. And then I start to look at some of the projects that we're working on now, whether it's in aid and development and disaster response, or whether it's in mining, where in a mine we can help a mine be more sustainable, or we can increase safety standards in mines, so to help the local communities around the mine to not be impacted by things that are going on there, by using technology to drive efficiencies in mines, or to drive efficiencies in a global supply chain. And to help impact economies around the world and all this sort of stuff. It's like, and it sounds pretty grand to say that, but that's genuinely something that I can actually do. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. And so that, having that moment to, I think, getting Team Rubicon into my life, that helping then clear that cloud that I was surrounded by, whether it's the black dog story about depression or whatever. And get clearing that and starting to really see how lucky I am. That's important, I think.
Do you think it's achievable to get that perspective on what you're missing, or how you're doing things wrong, or your outlook on things and what you need to do to improve your life? Do you think it's achievable to get that perspective without having to go through the hardships?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think some people genuinely do have it. I think that actually, and this is probably one of the problems in our society today, is that people don't talk enough about those feelings, right? And so, there was a whole bunch of circumstances that helped me get through that. But the problem, it sounds like my whole life has been a whole set of circumstances where I was in the right place at the right time to get where I am today, but and that's probably the reality. But the fact is that people need to, there is a moment where you dive into that trough and you're in the bottom of the valley, and getting out of it feels impossible, and I think that if people talk about those things, there are people that can help them get out of that valley, right? Can help them get out of that trough and get to that point where they can again see some of those positive things in their life. But when people don't talk about it, and when people don't reach out and talk to people, that I think that's when the bad shit happens. And that's way too frequent at the moment.
I think I mentioned it before about Jordan Peterson's book 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah, I started it,
and that's almost you started it, man. That title is all, it's just like, it does it injustice. It makes it sound like one of those like gimmicky how to expand your mind, how to be the big guy, that kind of. It's not though. And one of the things in there, you talk about purpose, and I've been up and down with that. In fact, not up and down. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh, hope your kids aren't listening. It's swore. I'd say that crisis, but over a much shorter period of time, it sounds like, I don't think it affected me half as much as it did you. I'm a deep thinker anyway, so I go down the rabbit hole, and then it sort of has a superficial impact on me, even though when I'm talking it sounds like I'm going to flip and want to split the atom. And it was that purpose, like what it was. That was my realization. There we go. It was my realization. I need a mission. That's what I put it myself. That's what I need. I was explaining it. I need a mission. So I need a mission, an objective.
Yeah.
But at the time I was saying I almost needed a mission with an objective that is unattainable, but still enticing. So I can keep working towards it. That's life, right? That's life. You keep working. Yeah. So what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? The problem is that everyone needs that. That's your purpose. I'm just saying mission. It's your purpose. What's your purpose? Well, your purpose in life. Well, that's whatever drives you to keep going, because you're never going to achieve it. You're not. All right. Just bear with me, I can see your face. Yeah. And so that was my argument. I had a few conversations with a few friends.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point? I don't know. What's the point? Tell me why. What should I be doing? Because something's not right here. And then I was reading. I was listening to JP Jordan Peterson's book. And I'm listening to it a second time now. 15 hours worth of listening to it. I've gone through it a second time now because I want to take things back in. And he comes on to a massive chapter on it. He comes on it several times about purpose. And God, I can't even replicate what he says. He just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. But basically, you're saying, you can't define your purpose. You can't choose your purpose. Like, I can't say, that's my purpose, Team Rubicon. I can't say it. I don't choose that. You can't, if you define it like in your conscious, you define it as a person. That's not in there inside you. It's not what's going to drive. It's not what's going to keep that fire burning. But you can find your purpose. And one of the things he's basically, he refers back to his patients he's dealt with over the years. He's a clinical psychiatrist over the years and years and years and years. A lot of those have been ex-military, PTSD sufferers and mental health and all sorts. He's dealt with everyone, right?
Yeah.
He said, what you can do is help yourself with the little things, which is what the 12 Rules of Life are. And when he comes on, this is one thing that sticks in my mind and everything. He said, I think this is in his chapter, and the chapter is put your own house in order before you try to fix the world. And there's another one which is and that's just a chapter heading. The other one which is treat yourself like someone needs to be cared for. Right? And I literally in the car taking everything he's in and repeating it. I went through a stage of those two things. I get in the morning, because I struggle with a lot of stuff. I just struggle. I just crap at being a human being. Right? On the surface, great. And underneath, no. It's just rubbish at it. At all aspects of it. And I started drilling those two things in my head. And because part of the purpose thing was, he said, one of the things that help you find your purpose is do what makes you feel happy. Do what makes you feel good. Yeah. And reduce the things that don't do anything really. That don't make you feel good and you just do it because of the do. An example of that would be money. So I was working 9 till 5. No, it wasn't that. It's like 7:30 till 4:30 every day, and then 3 or 4 nights for a week. I go straight from work. I drive home. Wouldn't even get home. Straight to work, bar work until midnight. 'Cause I needed the money.
Yeah.
And then as I was listening to all this stuff, and realising things, I thought, okay. And again, I'm very logical, black and white as well. Yeah. So my brain came in and thought, okay, right, let's work this out. Let's back up what's been said. If I cut out like all the bar work in the night, right, and just keep one. So if I cut this out, I got more free time to myself. That means I can take myself to go and do what I do, like gym. Let's get not gym, like BJJ, jiu-jitsu. What do that once a week? So I'll be happier. So all my sideline projects, which make money, other businesses, if I'll become more productive at those.
Yeah.
So they'll sort of do what I want to do. Let more play, less work, will make me more productive, happier, more productive, and then the money that I make on the other businesses will kind of balance the fact I just pinned off. Did it? What happened?
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah,
it all balanced itself out, but I was happier for it. It's the same thing. So yeah, being good, do what you want to do, and that'll bring you purpose. And I don't, like, in my head now, I don't have a purpose. I set myself a purpose because I know what makes me happy. What makes me happy is helping people. This is why we're having this conversation. Why I started this. I just like to help people. I do, generally. And the people who know me best know that, and I've had a lot of help from people as well. Right? It makes me feel good. I feel like I have a obligation to do it because I'm in a privileged spot in certain ways. I'm privileged to be sitting here speaking to you and getting your experiences and have this, setting to be able to do it. I'm privileged to know the people I know, and I'm privileged to have the experiences I've had because 99.9% of the world haven't had the experiences they've had.
No.
They just haven't. So, and I can pass that information on. So that's my set thing.
Yeah.
I like to make people feel good. But going back to the inherent, why should I be here? I haven't even questioned it because I'm just generally.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm happy. I'm rolling. Just leave me crack on.
I think that's the important thing. The reason I kind of twitched a bit when you first talked about you thought your purpose was these unachievable ambitions that you're always striving for, and that's what's going to keep you going in life. That's not achievable, right? It's not sustainable because the way I think about purpose isn't a set phrase like, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but what actually is it that gives me that good feeling? What is it that gives me that sense of, I'm doing well here. I'm happy. I feel good about life. I want to get out of bed.
Is that what it is? So is the purpose? We got it, mate. We got the answer here, right? Is the purpose, because the question disappears when you're happy.
Yeah,
the question disappears.
Yeah.
I don't ask that. So is the purpose to be happy? Because what I was asking when there's a couple of good mates I was in conversation with, I said, when you're on your deathbed, what will you think?
Yeah.
What will make you think? Did I have a good life or a bad life? Did I achieve what I didn't achieve?
Do you know? For me, So for me, it was
right down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Do you know? Number one, I want to be a good dad. Right. I had an amazing dad. My dad never had a dad, and he never knew his dad, and. So he never had a template of how to be a dad, and he was great, and he was amazing bloke. And I want to be, if I could be half the man that he was, I mean that would be a win for me. Not because he was a Welshman or anything, but I want.
I wondered why you had a Welsh jersey.
In
that picture.
Yeah. No, so I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good friend to people that my mates, that invested in me, that helped me out, all that sort of stuff. I want to be able to have a positive impact on people. I want to help people in their careers, and I want to be able to do good things. And so, for me, I was never a salesman, right? Although I did sales for quite a while, account management sort of stuff, which is different. But it was always about helping solve problems and getting things done and whatever else. So for me, my purpose in life is to really to try and kind of do good things for people, right? And to be a good dad, to be a good husband, to be a good mate to people, to be a good boss, to help people to kind of be the best that they can be in what they do. And that gives me a real sense of achievement and pride. You know, if I'm having a positive impact on someone's life, then fuck me, that gets me out of bed in the morning. And there are obviously there's selfish things that I want to do in life as well, like go to the gym and go and have a beer every now and then, have a laugh.
That's not selfish.
No, because you've got to look after yourself, right, before you can look after other people.
Yeah.
So that kind of does drive me on, but yeah, so that's my purpose basically. I think is it's not a set statement, but it's about what does really motivate me. And making money, does that really motivate me? Like if I think about my job, and is it necessarily the hitting the targets that motivates me, or is it helping? So I think I'm turning around this business unit, okay, at Inmarsat, and it was in double-digit decline for a period of time, and we're changing we've changed the strategy dramatically, and we're turning it around to do a totally different thing in industrial IoT, Internet of Things, and technology, and whatever else. Is the goal for me in that to hit my targets every year? What is it that when I think about the statement that really excites me about it? It's about achieving that turnaround. It's about being on that journey that takes something that is basically failing, turn it into something that is a success, and everybody being able to kind of come out the back of that and going, look what we did. Mm-hmm. We've fucking smashed that. We've taken something that has been in decline to being a huge success that has been people are always saying, nah, that's never going to succeed. Mm-hmm. That's never going to succeed. To we're now knocking this right out of the park. We're winning as a group of people, and I want to see that pride in people's faces. I want to see that I'm part of this winning team, and that for me really drives me. And that whole bringing people along on that journey and us succeeding and getting to that point, that's when I'll look back on that and I say to people, you can put that on your CV. We've taken this group from being in decline to being a massive success. For some of the younger people in that group, that'll make their careers. They'll be able to get better jobs, promotions, or whatever else on that. It's a real win.
I'll try that one.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Well, why do you get that saying? Everyone loves an underdog.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the underdog. When Japan beat South Africa in that rugby match, right? There's a video of me. I didn't know it was being recorded.
Yeah.
I am on the top of my couch going mental. When they get that try, they get the ball out, and they got to score one more try. What happens at half time? I think they're drawing at half. Do you remember the match?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my god, the greatest rugby match ever.
Yeah,
Japan and South Africa in a World Cup.
Yeah.
And at half time, I think Japan were level with South Africa, and the Japanese in the crowd, they were crying. They were crying with happiness.
Yeah.
They were level or just beating them at half time, and they were crying, mate. Like, it was unbelievable. And then it gets to the last 60 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. And Japan got the ball. They got to score a try to win the match.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get this ball out. I'm on the couch going mental. What? I love South Africa. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Mate, I've got no ties to Japan whatsoever, but they're the underdog.
Yeah.
How amazing. The reason I'm asking it is, anyway, so Japan, they get the ball out, score a try. It's like the greatest rugby match ever. Greatest match ever.
Yeah, brilliant.
And, it was a Kiwi, was it not with a Kiwi coach? They had a Kiwi coach, didn't they? I think?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Why do people love the underdog? It's because people like to see people succeed.
Yep.
I'm going to phrase that. People like to see people below them succeed, or they perceive people below them, right? It's like, you get. It's great to see Elon Musk succeed, but I'm not really asked.
No,
if he was That's a bad. That's a bad analogy. That's a bad. That's a fucking terrible analogy. Anyway, you know what I mean.
I do.
They want to see people succeed. You like to hear about the tramp. Okay, in the news, and he gets donated all that money in Australia. Have you heard about him? The one with the trolley guy. He's a tramp, and they've gotten I think he had like 15 grand or 30 grand donated, Australian dollars donated overnight. And then they found him, and they were going to give him the money. Well, they love to see him succeed. Obviously he's a hero, but fucking being terrible with this. Underdog. Like to see people succeed. Yeah. Why? Because it makes you feel good. Why? Because people are improving.
And I think
I had no point there whatsoever. I don't know where I was.
I get it. Totally get it. I think taking over. If you say you're given a team, right, and that team is a game, knocking it out of the park, and you've got to maintain that. Bloody hell, that's hard work, right? That is because you're constantly fighting to try and make something that's already really good better. Mm-hmm. But I love this. I love the challenge. I love the opportunity to. And bloody hell, you think about where I'm from and my background, and I've been given this opportunity by Inmarsat to take something that is failing and make it succeed. I don't think there's many companies that would give someone that has, certainly on paper, my CV, that opportunity. And so I've got a lot of loyalty to the company for that. And I'm going to win one way or another. I am going to bloody win. Whatever it takes to an extent. I'm never going to put the job in front of my family again. But whatever it takes to an extent, I will make sure we win. And I've brought in some people that on paper, that don't fit in the company, but they're changing the way we think. They're coming in from other industries, and they're coming in from different areas, and they are challenging the way we think about things, and they're challenging me and helping me to develop as well, right? And so we're bringing this company along in a direction. And that's really cool.
Why does that attitude exist then? With why is the CEO, I take it, and the board willing to take those leaps of faith and do things, go against the grain?
Well, I think the reality is that if you think about the way the company was going, or the way the team was going at the time, it was about providing communications on an event basis to different organisations that are using it every now and then, like a media broadcast company that's in Libya that may use it for a little while and then not use it again. They may go and do some mining exploration, but then commodity prices crash and no one's exploring and mining anymore. It may be about oil and gas, but the oil and gas market crashes and then nobody's using the service. And I think, basically, I was asked, what would you do differently? And so I said, well, okay, I would use existing technology, not kind of create new technology, not wait until we develop something new and shiny, but use existing technology to do something different, to try and do something different. And so I think the and it was a punt. The company 100% have taken a punt on me and my background, but it was the fact that I was willing to put together, given the powers, given the tools on that MBA. I was actually only about halfway through the MBA at the time. Given the tools that MBA gave me, to be able to then say, okay, look, there's an opportunity here. There's a market that's forming to not just use communications as a means to access the internet or send email or make voice calls, but to actually make positive changes in an organization to help them understand the way their business is operating, to gather data, use sensors to gather data on the ground that gives them insights into the way they're operating, that can mean that they are able to reduce downtime on vehicles because they're able to predict if there's going to be an issue, to reduce safety issues or incidents by putting sensors in that can tell if there's going to be a dam that's going to rupture in a mine or whatever it may be. If you can drive those insights to a company, that they can then make decisions based on data rather than on gut or on experience,
I missed them.
then it means that you can really have a positive impact on that organisation. And so we pitched this, and at the time we didn't have any of those capabilities as a company. We didn't know, okay, how are we going to deploy those solutions? I was told, okay, look, secure the existing business that you've got, stop the decline there as much as you can, and then go out and start to grow this industrial Internet of Things, this, which is basically just selling solutions that can help people make smart business decisions. Go and start to grow that business. And so I went out and, I've not done that myself. I went out and found some of those skill sets, and I brought them into the company, and we started to change the way by constant development of the process and the thinking, and by being creating an environment where people were open to change, understanding that we're not going to get this right first time. It is going to be about constantly having to change and develop the organisation until we get it right and we start going in a direction. And I took over that team 2 years ago, and we've secured that core business now. We've got it on a track back to low growth. It's stopped the decline in it, and we're starting to grow some really exciting opportunities. And I think the company basically just we're brave enough basically to say, okay, let's give this a go. Let's give this a go. Right? Let's give this guy an opportunity. He's here saying he's confident that he can do it. Let's give him a chance. And
why are you grinning? And he wears beard oil.
Because it's
he wears no speed oil. He wears beard oil.
Yeah. Did I 100% have a plan? Did I 100% have a plan? No, of course I didn't. But I never. When the CEO, I was pitching this at the time, and I was saying, yeah, we can do this, we can do that, and I was expecting to be told, okay, we're going to put you into a role now to help develop the strategy of this team and take it in a direction. And the CEO said to me, so do you want to run the business unit? Do you want to be president of the enterprise business unit? And I was like, holy fuck. Literally sat there in his office like, okay, don't show how shocked you are, don't show how shocked you are. Absolutely, Rupert, I can do that, no problem. I'm going to knock this out of the park. I won't fail you, 100%. I'm all over it. This is for me, and I'm pretty sure he knows this because you know me for quite a few years. I'm pretty sure he knows that in my character, you give me that kind of challenge to do something, and I'm going to do it. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this, and we are going to do it. And it's probably there's been many times in the last 2 years when I've kind of thought, shit, is this going where I need it to go? People problems and that sort of stuff.
Oh, God, they'll always be there, won't they? People, mate. People are idiots, including us.
Yeah.
People are morons.
Yeah, exactly. We're all morons at some point. But
what do you mean leaving for more money?
Yeah. I know. So basically, it's just been a case of react to that problem, or I can see a problem coming, proactively get in front of it, and now I've got this great team, and I sit. We're in this open plan office space, and I sit there at the back, and I kind of look across, and I'm like, whoa. I'm in charge of this. There's people here that are experts in mining, and they're experts in precision agriculture, and people that have led massive sales team.
Precision agriculture?
Oh yeah.
Go on.
So,
what the fuck? I take it doesn't involve Farmer Giles and his combine harvester.
Well, it involves autonomous harvesters.
Ooh.
It involves using satellites to do precision harvesting of crops in places like Brazil, to provide GPS augmentation to be able to harvest the crop that is the most ripe ready for harvest. And it involves sensors in the ground that can tell you if a certain area is saturated with water and actually doesn't need to be irrigated, or if an area is drier and so does need to be irrigated, which means that you can control the irrigation system, not just to pump out in a in a kind of bog standard way, but to be able to tailor the way the irrigation system works to drive the maximum efficiency and the yield of the crop. Which means that you get a better yield in the crop. You cut down on diesel to pump that's used to drive the generators to pump the irrigation systems. You use less water, so it's better for the environment and all this sort of stuff. So we've got these insane people in my team, people that have been in marketing for years, and they're like they're working for me. I'm like, this is mental. But yeah, like you say, it's a privilege. It is a massive privilege where I am, but it's exciting.
Sounds it. Are you doing? You got anything on the horizon for monitoring the oceans and not the ships?
So, it's a good question. So we already have solutions that do tsunami warning systems. That can tell you if there's a surge in water levels that can really basically predict if there's a tsunami going to hit a particular area. We have solutions deployed like that. We were we are a sponsor of the Volvo Ocean Race, so one of the maddest around the world. Sorry? The Volvo Ocean Race.
Okay.
So around the world yacht race. A completely mad event, and one of the team that by far I was the most drawn to was Turn the Tide on Ocean Plastic, and quite a long name, but a amazing team, and they had sensors on their boats that were basically filtering through seawater, and they were looking at the plastic content. And they were basically driving this as a study. So it wasn't just about
gives off a plastic.
Things like microbeads or plastic fragments, degraded, whatever else, and so they're like filtering it all through. And so they were in the race, obviously, to do as well as they could, but they had a very they took a punt on the crew. They were the only crew that had 50-50 male-female. They had
Was all the rest all male?
No, they all had a mixture of male and female, but it was predominantly male on all the other crews. Captained by this absolute inspirational woman called Dee Kafari.
Dee Kafari,
yeah, she's a Brit. And she basically she captained this boat, and this boat was basically going around and dragging all these statistics out of the ocean, and looking at the plastic content and things like microbeads.
What's her background?
Basically sailing. She's done all sorts of. These people are professional sailors.
What about the research there with the pollution?
I don't know how they got into it, to be honest. But basically what they found was the microbead content, for example, in the oceans was off the scale, way beyond what they thought they were going to find, and quite scarily so. And you think about, this is stuff that's going into fish that we're then consuming ourselves, and these microbeads are then in our food. So they were trying to drive this campaign to really help people understand the impact on the oceans. And so Inmarsat's involved in a number of different things like that. I think the future of this sort of stuff is around how can you put sensors out there that are starting to track those sorts of things.
We're getting short on time, but I mean, the thing is with what you're talking about is that with the computing power we have these days, and with the attitude that we're starting to have towards data, because we can harvest big data, and those three words go together on and on.
Yep.
It's the problem. The problem is not being able to store the data. Okay, you can analyze it however you want. The problem's not storing it. The problem's collecting it. So, from I can see what you're saying from a commercial perspective. My ideal thing, I've been involved with facilities management in the past, and in the design of the Blue Abyss building.
Yep.
And my thing with it is that my ideal scenario would be a flipping sensor in every millimetre, every inch of that building, because from a FM point of view, well, if I can tell, just take boil back, if I can tell how many people are frequenting a room over so many months and days and years, and it varies and this, that, and the other. Well, just take the AC for example. If I can monitor that, and this is really basic, this is super basic. This has been getting done for years. Super basic.
Yep.
You know, if I can, it comes on to what you're saying about mines though. That's super basic. Well, if I can teach that AC to not be on the 4th Tuesday of every 6th month, because for the last 2 years it's been like the least used room, it just the way it is, you know, for example. Or if we get a certain group of people into the building, you know, into my building, that for 2 days after, that room is going to be mega hot because of whatever they were doing in it, or that facility part of the building is going to be, well, and it does it automatically. Like, it comes onto the mines, exactly, it's on a greater scale for those big corporate entities. Harvesting the information, analyze it however you want. We've got the facility to store the data. How do we collect it?
Yeah,
sensors and communication are the issue. Yep. Well, if you got those two things,
yeah,
if you're very good at those two things, you're very good.
There are so many solutions out there now. In the past, like the whole big data and Internet of Things, machine to machine, people just put out loads of sensors and gather loads of data, and then what do you do with it? You know, the point is you need to understand what the problem is that you're trying to solve, and then deploy the solution that solves that problem. And that's basically what my team and I are doing, and Inmarsat is doing in other areas as well. And in particular in areas where, you know, there isn't robust communications or there isn't a network. So in places like Africa and South America and Norfolk. There's a great opportunity to do some pretty cool stuff out there, which is really exciting. Employing technology to help people make smart decisions, to improve the profitability of that mine or farm or whatever else, but also to help drive the sustainability of that farm, whatever it may be. One of the biggest challenges we face globally, driving food production, right, to feed the growing population. You start to use technology to help make smart decisions around how you grow crops and get the most yield out of things, and that is going to help with that issue in the future, driving cooperative farming and all those sorts of things. It's really exciting stuff, and that's the sort of stuff, going back to that purpose, where those sorts of things really drive a vein through a lot of the projects that we're doing now, having positive impacts on the planet and on people, and that's stuff that gets me excited, and you know, it gives me that sense of purpose that I was lacking and I've now got.
Awesome, mate. I need to say that's it. It's not it. You've got this is your. We need to wrap it up. I'm looking at the time. Flipping heck. Shameless plug opportunity. Now I know that Inmarsat have got some form of veterans networking event, or am I wrong?
Nope, totally right. So 3rd of December, we've got an event in London at our Old Street headquarters. We've got a lot of veterans in the company, and the initiative that we're driving basically is to bring people in that are going through the career transition partnership process. We're working in hand in hand with the career transition partnership.
Oh yeah. Oh, yep. Good. Okay, cool.
And a bunch of other organisations. And on the 3rd of December, we're looking to bring people in to the company, beer and pizza, and then have a panel led by a clown called Paul Gudonis. And
before or after the beer?
Before. Make sure people go through the panel discussion first before we give them access to. Otherwise, they'll bugger off. So come in, talk to myself, talk to a group of others. So we've got a guy that's just left the 216 Parachute Signals Squadron as a Lance Corporal, a young lad called Ash Fletcher. So he's going to be there on the panel. We've got Del Ashley, the bootneck that I was talking about before, and a few others that are going to be on that panel. And so basically it'd be an opportunity for people to ask questions and then do some networking. We're going to get people together afterwards, and one of the things that we're hoping we'll get from that is approximately 40-ish people that were interested in being mentored throughout 2019 to help things like CVs, to help with, if they've got questions about how to do interviews or how to approach people proactively, all those sorts of things. And so have these Inmarsat mentors, both ex-military veterans and civilians, help people through this transition. And there's no promise of a job out of it for these guys, but there will be roles that will come up throughout 2019 that we'll like to feed these people through. At the very minimum, if it just gives them some practice for things like interview skills and whatever else, ideally there'll be some roles out of it as well. There's one thing that I believe, and that's that the veteran community, people leaving the military, have two great skills that they should harness, and getting shit done, just basically that ability to work through a problem and find a resolution and not being a dick. And those are two things. Not everyone gets that right. Who did you
work with? Not work with.
Not everyone gets that right.
I agree.
I've stolen that actually straight from Jake Wood, the CEO of Team Rubicon USA, the founder of Team Rubicon. Those are the two guiding principles for Team Rubicon at USA and UK and all the others. Don't be a dick and get shit done. And do you know what? Those are rules to live life by. You do that, you're going to be a winner. So 3rd of December, check out Inmarsat's social media.
What time?
It's going to be in the evening. I can't remember the time exactly, but it's going to be in the evening, early evening.
On Old Street, and that's right. And your office is right outside Old Street, isn't it?
Oh, right outside Old Street roundabout. Check out Inmarsat's social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, that sort of stuff.
Old Street roundabout means jack shit to people. That Old Street Tube station. Yeah. No, it's in fact you can walk to your office from Liverpool Street, can't you?
You can.
There we go.
I do most days.
Go. Sorry, go on.
So check out the social media stuff, and it will be on there soon. We'll be advertising. But 3rd of December.
Awesome.
Come on down.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, you.